Bear down, Bears fans. Welcome to the Motion Sports Podcast. I'm Greg Nosar. This is Chris Smith. We've been on TikTok, first time together, talking about our beloved Chicago Bears. And everybody's talking about the Bears, whether it be the stadium situation, whether it be our defense, whether it be Caleb Williams on the cover of Madden 27. Everybody can't stop talking about the Bears, including you stinking Packer fans out there. You know you're jealous that freaking Caleb Williams is on the cover. Yes, you are. But
Rent free.
Chris, welcome, man. Welcome to the Motion Sports Podcast, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. You know, I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I was like, hey, that seems like a cool cat hang out with on a podcast sometimes. So I'm glad. I'm very happy to be here. It's going to be fun.
Man. You know, obviously following Bears, you put out a lot of Bears content. I put out a lot of Bears content, man. It's good that we can come together, kind of talk about our favorite team, our passion. But, you know, we got to begin this podcast real quick and talk about this whole stadium situation. I have my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. You go first. Go ahead, man.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm probably like a lot of Bears fans, where at this point I'm almost done caring. It's just been going on for so long that it's kind of like run its course. And you know that one day it's just going to be figured out. It's kind of like this battle of between the politicians, Warren, the McCaskey probably has no idea what he's doing. He's just kind of bumbling around, right? It sounds like that there's some good options, and everyone just wants their kickback. That's what it sounds like to me. I hope that they stay at the very least in Illinois. I would love for them to stay in Chicago. You know, I can't imagine watching Sunday Night Football, you know, sky view, showing the stadium, downtown Chicago, and all of a sudden it be wherever the hell it's supposed to be in Hammond, Indiana, on like that.
In the oil refineries, in the slag, you know, ground. I mean, it just doesn't look right. It's not right.
Right. It's what's that saying? Like, put a diamond in mud or whatever. I don't even know the dang saying, but it's like going to be this beautiful stadium in this crap hole. You know what I mean? So, but we'll get a Super Bowl. I just don't know if that ends up paying for it. You know, if the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak.
I mean, I could see both sides of this whole situation, man. Look, Indiana came in, offered the Bears a sweet deal. Illinois is just playing games. I mean, their politics, whether you like them or not, I don't care where you vote, they just can't get together, even as one super party, and make a decision. And I'll be honest with you, they kind of called the Bears bluff on Indiana, and it balls back in Bears court. They have this beautiful piece of land in Arlington Heights, 325 acres, and they can't do anything with it. I mean, they are literally stuck. And, you know, they're coming up saying that they're not going to give them any kind of tax breaks. The Bears could pay a potential $150 to $180 in property taxes by owning this piece of land when it's all fully developed. There is not a business in America that's going to pay that kind of property tax. You know, they're not. And then they don't come back with any kind of infrastructure help. So, I mean, what are the Bears going to do? I mean, they've got a piece of land they can't use. And, you know, Mayor Johnson stepped in, wants them to build in Chicago. That was never on the table after a couple of years ago. And then obviously Indiana is offering, hey, we'll give you $1 billion. You know, we're going to let you lease back the stadium from us. You know, you get to keep all the revenue. I mean, it's just like this silver platter that Chicago Bears are going to have to make a decision on. And quite frankly, I mean, I can't see a reason why they will stay in Illinois at this point.
Right. It kind of makes you wonder, like, why did they buy that land in the first place?
They jumped the shark.
Exactly. They're just kind of like, oh, crap, here's some good land. Let's buy it. And maybe we could do something with it without figuring out anything. Because you know that Illinois, especially with real estate property taxes or any kind of taxes, they're going to come after you. I remember when I owned a house in Illinois, all of a sudden when they did like their whatever the tax thing is that they do, doesn't matter. All of a sudden I had 500 more square feet of yard. I don't know where it was, but I had to pay for it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was just kind of like, okay, so you know that they're going to come for every single dollar. They can't. I also wouldn't be surprised. And I made a video about this a long time ago. It's like the only video I made about the stadium. I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana was doing this just to mess with Pritzker.
Oh, 100%. To ruin his presidential chances.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't really like to talk too much politics, but like it's a smart move.
Right.
When you are the governor of Indiana, if you can knock Pritzker out,
oh yeah, Yeah,
You know,
I
that's
agree.
one of the leading
I agree.
candidates.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, look, the problem is the Bears have like 57 or 58% of their ticket base, their season ticket holders up in the northern suburbs, northwestern suburbs of Chicago. And
Mm.
it's going to be another 25-minute ride from Soldier Field to Hammond, Indiana. And look, like it or not, that area, it's like it's Hatfield and McCoy's. Illinois hates Indiana. Indiana hates Illinois. And you got this fight going on. But George said it himself. You better get used to it because if it's going to be in Hammond, Indiana, it's going to be a dome
Right.
stadium. And let's be honest, you, me, and all the season ticket holders, especially if this team catches fire, they're going to fill that freaking stadium no matter where it's at.
Yeah, I think no matter where it's going to be, the fans are going to follow. And you said Northwest Chicago, but if I'm not mistaken, I know Southwest and South Chicago is starting to grow rapidly. You
Mm-hmm.
know, a lot because a lot of people work in those south suburbs from
Yep.
Indiana, or
Yep.
people live in Indiana and just work in Illinois, right? So they get the tax break of living in Indiana just by crossing over the border.
Hey,
So
cheaper
there's going
gas
to
the
be
second you get across the border.
absolutely. So there I think the shift will just happen with the fan base, and you might just have more people from south suburbs or even Naperville. You know, Naperville, Bolingbrook, Orland Park, and it's just growing more and more south and on the eastern border of Illinois. So I don't think that that's going to be an issue for the Bears. They know, just like the Cubs, they don't have to be good ever, and they'll sell out.
Exactly. I mean, and Bears are still number one in Chicago. I mean, the
Yeah.
Cubs can win the World Series, and back in 2016, it was magical, but it did not compare. And I was alive during the
Mhm.
time when the '85 Bears won the Super Bowl. It was I mean, they shut down the city. It was
Mhm.
incredible. The Bears will always be number one in Chicago, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I truly think we have a window. In the next 5-6 years, I think we can get that freaking Lombardi in Chicago, man.
We're definitely building a team to do that. For the first time in a long time, I believe that there's actual like longevity with the team that we're building, where before it just kind of seemed like the 1-2 year fluky seasons, which a lot of our
Yep.
division rival fans have used against us, and rightfully so. I would be using the same thing where they're like,
Yep.
you had that 1 year in 2006, you had that 1 year in 2018, and you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Nothing. Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I can't
Yep.
defend that. So, but now that we actually have a franchise quarterback, and that's what Caleb Williams is and is
No
building
question.
up to be. And then with Ben Johnson, who I think is just a much better coach than we ever thought we were going to have with Caleb Williams. I think most people would have thought like, oh, if we could just do someone kind of better than Eberflus with Caleb Williams, we'll be okay.
We're bringing some
But
bad
with
memories.
right, but with Ben Johnson,
Yeah.
it's just that much more.
Well,
And I think
well,
they're
Chris, we've
building the
never
team the
had
right
a
way.
we've never really had an offense. I mean, I've been alive for now almost 49 years. And even during the '85 Bears, it was always the Bears defense.
Sure.
Jay Cutler came in, had a great, had his run, but we've never seen an offensive mind like Ben Johnson. And then you're talking about sustainability, man. I mean, if you go back to Detroit, he was 9-8 the first season he was his OC, went 12-5 the second year, and then 15-2. Everywhere he's gone, he's changed the culture and offensive thought process and
Mhm.
is just unbelievable play calling. And then now, I think with Caleb Williams' second year, I'm telling you, I mean, I don't see any reason unless they start out like they did at every half last year. But there's no reason that it can't score 28 to 31 points every single game here this
Right.
year.
And that's what's a lot of fun now. I like to get on TikTok because I like to talk football with other Bears fans, right? And so you have this younger crowd, and this is going to be like their Bears. They
Yeah.
are introduced to Caleb Williams and the Bears. Like they won't know dominant defenses is what's carried the Bears for years. Unfortunately, during my teen years, it was the 90s. We
Hmm.
sucked
Yeah.
horribly.
Yeah.
We never had a quarterback. Receivers went there to die unless you had one awesome season like Marcus Robinson. Your favorite receiver was Tom Waddle. That's all you had.
No
you
offense
know?
to Waddle, I love him, but
Yeah.
man, if that's your number one receiver, man, I don't
Like,
know,
man, we got Barry Minter. Let's go.
Yeah,
But like
exactly right.
now, like these kids, it's awesome to see that they have Caleb Williams, they have Colston Loveland, they have all these explosive players on offense. and they don't know, oh, the Bears used to be dominated by defense. I
Yeah,
think that the defense is starting to turn around. I think
I
it's going to be
agree.
better. I
I
don't
agree.
think that's there yet. But hey, we got a motivated Dio.
We're golden, man. Look, we passed up Miles Garrett, and trying to trade for him, or Max Crosby because we do have a motivated
Yeah. Who,
Bengals,
who,
man. I mean,
who,
we're
who,
set. We're
who needs a
set.
future Hall of Famer? We have motivated Dio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
yeah. I mean, I do like Austin Booker. I do like Montez
Mhm.
Sweat. I've been saying this. Montez Sweat to me, he's a DE2. I think he's good if you pair somebody better than him on the opposite side, right?
Sure.
But you can't have Javon Dexter not being able to win one-on-ones, doesn't even require a double team whatsoever. And then they're moving
Mhm.
the double teams over and the chips to Montez Sweat, I am concerned. I am seriously concerned about this defensive line. I cannot believe we really didn't address it in the draft. I understand picking the best player available. I'm okay with the Logan Jones pick. I didn't like where he was picked in terms of numbers, but I get it. They had Drew Dahlman retire on him suddenly. I think they panicked, but they saw Logan
Sure.
Jones there. And then what I do understand that Ben likes the 13 personnel, but reaching for Sam Roush in that pick without having a defensive lineman, either a tackle or an edge, picked before him bothered the hell out of me.
Yeah, it's something that Ryan Poles just continuously goes, it'll solve itself, or
Yeah,
I'll throw $20 million at someone who hasn't done anything in 2 years. But I wish that there was a way to know, but I really think that they weren't expecting Dylan Thieneman to fall to them.
I
And
agree.
I think that that changed everything.
It did.
I think that they had a projected way that the first round is going to go. And I'm pretty certain, or completely wrong, that they're probably going to pick a defensive lineman with
Caden
that first
McDonald is
pick.
right there, right?
Right. I think that's where they're going to go. But when Dylan fell to them, I think that they just went that route, and then that totally just shifted the rest of their draft plan
I agree. I think it really screwed up their draft board in a good way.
in a
Look,
good
I
way. In a good way. Great
love
way.
Dylan Thieneman
Oh
pick.
yeah, dude, he's awesome.
I mean, we thought he was going to go to Minnesota at pick, I think it was 16.
Some people had him at like 13 and 14,
Yeah,
up there with like Miami. So no, like awesome problem to have.
sure.
Oh darn, we get, that guy.
The
Bummer.
I
But you
think he's on the lines of Caleb Downs. I really do. I mean, his athletic
sure,
profile, everything about him, the way he, scouts the field, the way he jumps on the ball. I think he's, just as athletic and a leader as well as Caleb Downs is. So to me, I'm excited. I know DA is very excited about having a talent like that. I love what Ben Johnson's doing, by the way. He's making him earn his starting spot too. He's one
sure.
of the twos,
I'm
So
I'm really excited because it's almost like the Bears defensive secretary is now symmetric. Usually you have free safety, guy who hangs back, he spies for the football. Then you have your strong safety, he comes and hits the box, right?
yep,
Well, now because him and Bryant could both do
both
both,
do it. You don't know who's
you
the
can
strong.
that is going to mess with some quarterbacks.
It will.
That's what I'm kind of excited about. I don't know, and I could be wrong, but I don't know if there's been another safety duo that's like that, where you could all of a sudden just flip it on the quarterback at any time. They won't know which one's dropping, which one's coming up. And then if Kyler Gordon could stay on the field,
Ah, please.
that could be extremely dangerous
Yeah,
for a secondary. Now, the problem is are you going to get enough pressure up front with, like you said, Austin Booker? Montez Sweat is fine. He's going to get you your 8.5 to 11 sacks, right? I don't think that the Bears needed a superstar edge. I just think if you look at the Seahawks and if you looked at the Eagles a year
they're
prior,
balanced
and
everywhere.
yeah, if you have 4 dudes that get 7 sacks each and could hold blocks during the run, you're good to go. That's
Yep.
that's literally all you need in today's NFL. Would it be awesome to have Myles Garrett? Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't have that. I just don't think you absolutely need it in order to win the Super Bowl.
I'll be honest with you, I think the Browns won that trade, man. I mean, getting Jared Verse, a first rounder, second rounder, and third
He's
rounder,
really good.
that's
Yeah,
a lot of capital, for a 30-year-old Miles Garrett. Now, look, Miles Garrett is the man. We haven't
yes.
seen a guy like that since Lawrence freaking Taylor.
Yeah.
And I mean, he is the most dominant defensive edge I haven't seen in years, right? But You pick up a 30-year-old with a big contract and give up that kind of capital. I don't know what the Browns are going to do with it because they mess up the draft picks every freaking time. But God, what a haul!
Well, the good thing is, I think the Browns this season and last season did a much better job with their draft than they have before.
Andrew Berry's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing really good. I think that this is another trade the Rams make with a team like they did with the Lions, where both teams win. The
Yeah.
Browns are trying to build for their future. They got Jared Verse, who is one of the better young edge rushers in the league, and more draft picks. Where the Rams, they have Matthew Stafford. They're in win right now mode.
Yep.
So bringing in Myles Garrett to win now. Right. So two different philosophies, but that's where those two teams are at.
I don't blame them whatsoever. I mean, I think it's a brilliant move. Like you said, I think both teams won. But I just think the Browns, obviously they're going to struggle on offense. They only have it's a carnival quarterback situation that they got going on over there.
Yeah.
But gosh, man, I mean, they could really build something special in Cleveland. But now we've got to contend, and we've got to get a team that's ready for the Rams. Right? I mean, they are the number one team, I think, in the NFL. I don't think it's even close. But now, the Bears have got to figure out, what are we going to do? I mean, we almost beat them last year in the freaking playoffs. It was right there.
Right
there. But the way the 49ers and the Seahawks are in that division, it's not a lock that the Rams are just going to roll through and sweep everybody. There's no way.
No, I whenever you have like these teams that are powerhouse made, a lot of the times like we get super hyped about them, and then for whatever reason it doesn't work out. I'm not saying that about the Rams, but we could say that about the Eagles, that dream team they made, what was it, 10, 15 years ago?
Right.
And it just crumbled. I don't think it's going to happen with the Rams because their coach is too good and Matthew Stafford's too good and everybody on that team is too good. With the Bears, I'm excited because it's going to be year 2 with Ben Johnson. I think, is there maybe a regression in overall record? Possibly. Is there going to be a regression in the team building in the right way? No. I think there's going to be an ascension. Caleb Williams, you could say a lot of what you want about him, especially if you're not a Bears fan. One thing that people underestimate is the guy rarely makes the same mistake twice.
True.
Proven by the fact, I had one guy in the comments in one of my TikTok videos jabbering off about how Caleb Williams is throwing too many interceptions, 2 interceptions a game, and that's the reason why the Bears had to do all these comebacks. I was like, the bro didn't throw 2 interceptions in one game.
He broke the rookie record on how many interceptions to pass ratio ever in the history of the
on the first 1,000 passes.
Yeah.
Right. So that includes the second year.
Yeah,
he doesn't make the same mistake. And he's a gunslinger. He even said, I can make any throw. And being jealous of Packer quarterbacks that they've had. We could say that, just like you could say that with Steelers and head coaches, right?
It's almost unbelievable.
It really is.
Dynasty of quarterbacks have come through there.
Like if you're telling me that Caleb Williams has the arm strength of Aaron Rodgers and a gunslinger mentality of Brett Favre, okay, yeah, okay. Now, will he ever be one of those guys? I don't know. I really think that he can. I think that Caleb Williams can be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for sure. I'm excited.
I think truly, I really do. And I've said this, back in January, I think he's going to be an MVP candidate, and it would not surprise me one bit if he's the MVP of the league this year.
Sure. And there's a lot of players out there who I bash Jordan Love because it's fun.
It's a Packer.
It's a hobby, right?
Yes.
I bash your quarterback, you bash mine.
Right.
But I'll say this: the NFC North is going to be crazy because say what you will about Jordan Love and the Packers, he's not a bum quarterback. The dude can play. I still don't understand how he throws the ball straight up in the air and it somehow gets to his receiver while our defensive backs just fall down. I don't understand that. Kevin Byard did it left and right. Part of the big reason why we went for speed in our draft.
Well, it doesn't help that we had C.J. Gardner-Johnson on Christian Watkins either. So,
Christian, that was a mismatch. What do you have? One of the fastest speed in the NFL versus that was not going to happen. But I think the Lions. I think people bash Goff for no reason. Well, there's reasons. He's getting on the other side, but the guy could play. Goff's going to get you 30, 35 touchdowns and throw less than 8 picks.
Goff gets rid of the football. That's what Caleb struggles with, and that's what Ben Johnson wants. He wants those short undercuts. Look, every single play that Ben Johnson runs on a passing scheme, one person's open.
Mm-hmm.
At least one person's open, and Jared Goff has the ability to recognize that open man extremely quick, and the ball's gone. Right?
Yeah, he's got great anticipation,
He does.
and, and
Yes.
and Caleb Williams' anticipation was getting better. And I think what also happened with not just Bears fans but other fans, when we had Justin Fields, his anticipation sucked. It was horrible. He could not read defense. He couldn't anticipate.
He
So
was
he just
afraid to
waited.
throw the ball.
Absolutely. He was waiting for the person to show that they were open before he would throw.
That's
And if
exactly right.
not, he would run, which is electric, which is a lot of fun. I mean, if it wasn't for him, the Bears would have been nothing a couple of years ago. He was the only
Correct.
reason why you watched them, which is why Bears fans are sad to see him go, because he sold the Bears when he was the only player that we had. But
Yep.
Caleb Williams is seeing the field. It's
Yep.
getting better and better. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very
Well,
explosive
one thing
year.
I was most impressed about with Caleb from year 1 to year 2 is the fact that, he was sacked 62 times or 61 times in first year as a rookie, and then comes right back with, not even 20 sacks or something like that. It was they cut the sack ratio more than in half. It was ability to run out, make the escapability, but throw the ball out of bounds, not make dumb decisions. Again, not throw a bunch of interceptions and not try to make the play when it wasn't there. I saw a very matured Caleb Williams in year 2, and I can't wait to see it. Everything's coming out of the OTAs right now. The coach for Illinois was at practice in the OTAs and was, just loving what Caleb Williams was doing. I mean, seriously, he was like, this guy is going to be special.
And that's fun to hear, because there were years where people were going to OTAs and you'd hear Justin Fields isn't looking too good. He's not accurate.
It was practice. The offense is not there yet with the defense, and now the offense is blowing the defense off the ball now.
It's amazing what a competent offensive line will do too. I mean, do you remember that game against the Titans where we had 2 offensive linemen blocking each other?
It was
like that happened.
It was Sheldon,
happened, people.
The center and the guard. It was Sheldon and I can't remember the other guy's name.
The other guy that Ryan Poles paid way too much money for. I don't remember his name anymore. I don't care.
You try to block that kind of crap out, but anyway, it was bad, really bad. Yeah. But I'm excited, man. I really am, because, look, I just want the defense to just be average, just be 16, 15 around that area, and let the Bears be the top 3 offense, which I think they're going to be. And man, that's a formula. Even though we have a harder schedule, I still think they're going 10-7. I think there's going to be a lot of shootouts, but just show me the improvement from being 29th in total defense to at least 16. And then we have a great team.
I agree 100%. And I also think that, there's always that third phase, right? That people sometimes forget. Packer fans don't, because of McAnus, right? The kicker. But special teams, it's a big deal. And we still have that core. We still have players like Blackwell, who's one of the better ones in the league. And I'll brag about special teams all day long. That's kind of a thing for Chicago Bear fans as well. We were built on defense and special teams. Devin Hester, Ian Badejo, Glenn Kozlowski. You know what I mean? There's a history there. And that's just something that I don't think you can undervalue.
Well, Brandon McAnus showed that just not any kicker can kick in Soldier Field.
Right.
And as we've had issues here in Chicago with our kickers.
We have. We've definitely had some issues.
I mean, the whole Robbie Gold thing, he was fantastic. And then after that, Cody Parkey, and the list can go on and on. But I don't know. I think we have a pretty solid special teams. I really like Khalif Raymond, back there. He's unbelievable, quick, great hands, the punt coverage. But this Xavier Thomas, man, I am pumped up to see what this kid can do with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to change my attitude about where he was drafted.
Me too.
And here's the thing, like, when I say something, if I end up being wrong, I'm totally for it if it's a good thing. You know what I mean? And I was ripping the Bears for when they drafted him, right? Because everybody knows when they're supposed to or when they could have. But if he ends up being a 3rd round talent next year, or whenever it is, then okay. Was I wrong? Sure.
I was
Okay.
wrong by 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
I don't mind being wrong if it benefits the Bears.
Yeah, if kid
Take
runs
the
a
ego
4.28.
out of it. Take the
Yeah,
ego out.
I think he's good. I think this Savion Thomas, I think he's going to be more than just a gadget player. Remember, Ben Johnson would always use DJ Moore in the backfield. It never made sense to me. They could never get DJ Moore the ball. Why is he running the running back when you've got 2 great running backs anyway? I think you're going to see that DJ Moore formation with Savion Thomas and let this kid get to the outside and take off.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if Ben Johnson's going to steal from. I have no idea if it's legal or not, but you know how like in the Arena League they have like the dude lined up like 30 yards back, and then they sprint super fast, and then the guy's already running full speed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Johnson pulled that out because
I agree.
why not? Why not?
But my favorite player this year, I'm looking at, Roman Dunze is going to have a career year to re-sign with the Chicago Bears. This is his contract year for me. Now, he's looking pretty good in OTAs, but, man, Luther Burden III is probably my favorite offensive player, besides Caleb, on this football team. I love Luther, and I love what Ben Johnson came out and said. I'm buying stock in Luther. I think Luther is going to be the sole focus on this offense. And, I mean, this guy – again, we talked about the ability to create space, and when the ball's in his hands, he's unbelievable. I think Ben is going to have an offensive scheme because of his route tree that Luther's working on to get him out in space and just let him have the ball and go. Yak.
Yeah, he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's amazing how quick that happened because he wasn't really doing too much in the first half of the season.
Well, that's why we don't have DJ Moore, man, because Luther showed up.
Do you know what Luther is, or at least to me, and this holds a place in my heart, and I might cry a little bit. I think Luther Burden is almost what we thought Kevin White was going to be.
Oh.
The speed,
that is
I want to say the toughness.
That's a great statement.
Yeah, and I went to West Virginia.
But I'm knocking on wood, man. Hopefully Luther doesn't turn into Kevin White and his back problems.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I went to West Virginia, so when they drafted Kevin White, there was nobody more excited as a Bear and Mountaineer fan than I was. And then what happened after that was
he was unbelievable in West Virginia.
On. Oh, it was awesome. But I think Luther Burden runs better.
Did he play with Pat White?
He did not play with Pat White. Pat White was a little bit before. He played with Geno Smith, I think, for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong about that. I think my timeline's all messed up. Okay. Definitely not with Pittsnoggle. He was our basketball player. Anybody at WVU, you know what I'm talking about. But Kevin White, he had one route tree. Luther Burden is a much better route runner. He's obviously going to be tougher than Kevin.
I think he's our Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. I think that's as close as you're going to get for a player in the NFL now. Amon-Ra, I think that's a very good comparison for sure.
I mean, if I was a defensive coordinator of another team, man, you got to look at, you got to cover Luther, you got to cover Rome, you got to cover Colston Loveland, you got Cole Kmet, you've got Khalif Raymond, and then you got Kyle Monungai and DeAndre Swift in the backfield. I mean, good luck, guys. I mean,
yeah.
Colston Loveland can beat any linebacker linebacker out there.
And Kmet can too, for the most part. Kmet is no scrub. You know what I mean? Right. And if this Roush, is that how you say his name?
Roush,
if he's what people think of, just like a Smythe that can run
and catch.
Okay, then awesome. I think that the only one of those guys that I'm worried about is Rome, and I think that the reasoning is because I think if he starts to drop the ball, then people are going to start to get nervous.
So I was looking at an interesting stat. His Washington stats, he had a 75% 50-50 ball catch rate, or contested catches, and then his first year with Chicago, he had a pretty good first year. He was at 67%. Last year, he was 17%. 17% contested catch rate.
Wow. Okay.
You can't have that.
No, that's no. That's shockingly low. I thought it was going to be a completely different number, if I'm being honest with you. So that that's one of my kids. That's why I was a little thrown off, because she's talking, Dad, can I have a dessert? It's like, I'm talking to somebody. But 17%, that's much lower than I would have thought.
Yeah.
But I think that his season, because of that ankle injury or heel injury or whatever it was, when you combine that with that drop against the Rams, that was just one of
The goal
those
line drop.
of course moments. You know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah.
why wouldn't it be this? Why would we not get the touchdown here? You know,
Exactly.
so I think Rome, this is the biggest year of his career. This is either going to get him the $100 million like Drake London, that he just signed like a
Yep.
$100 million contract, or is he going to get that 1 year prove it deals for the rest of his career? I think that this is the most important year of his career, of his life.
And I think Caleb's going to feed him. I really do. I
Oh,
think
for
Caleb
sure.
wants him to succeed and stay on this team. And he is a unbelievable talent. But again, after last year, but we forget he was the top. I think he was top 3 receiver in the league before he got hurt.
Yeah,
He was
he had
on
like 6 touchdowns in the first however many
it was
games.
like 800 yards. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, it was great. But again, he got hurt. Understand? Then he tried to come back. He looked like a 40-year-old receiver, and just didn't work out for him. But but that has not just Roman Dunze. That was like our entire defense too. We can talk about Jalen Johnson, obviously Kyler Gordon, and everything else. People don't understand that the Bears had the most injuries on the defense than any other NFL team. We were playing 4th stringers, for goodness sakes. I mean, we had McLeod out there trying to
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
know?
our depth has experience now.
Right. Our depth has experience, right? I mean, that's why we brought in Nashawn Wright. He wasn't even supposed to even make the team. And then he was 1 interception away from Kevin Byard. He had 7 interceptions. McLeod had 6. I mean, it just came out of nowhere. If we didn't have that, man, we would have been in big trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah. And like players like Nashawn Wright, they were, high risk, high reward every play.
Yeah.
Like, he was either getting an interception or he was giving up a touchdown.
That's exactly right.
That was it. So
you could go vertical on him, he'll be blanketing you. But if you try to run a crossing route against him, he's the wide receiver is wide open. I mean,
yeah,
a perfect 143 passer rating, I think is what it was. It was a joke.
Yeah, I think that this coming year and next in the following year, I think is where we're going to see more of a revamped defense. Because look, like TJ,
I think it's going to be way more aggressive.
Because look, TJ Edwards, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that he's still on the team.
Me too.
He's a liability in the
might
past
see him traded before the end of training camp.
I wouldn't doubt it if his injury is good to go, so he could pass physicals. There's a possibility that he could be traded. Now, do I hope that he comes back and he's a tackling machine and things like that? Absolutely, that'd be awesome. The problem is the way that he fits in with Dennis Allen's defense. He is a liability in the passing game because it's just not his strength. You know what I mean? His strength is against the run.
Brought in Devin Bush, 4-4 guy, can cover those quick tight ends. I'm excited for that. But one thing we forgot about that everybody's not talking about is Jack Sanborn's back with the Bears.
Yes.
And he didn't play that bad for us.
No, hometown hero, good story, right?
Yeah.
He went and got his money from Dallas. He kind of reminded me of who's that other West Virginia guy that we had at linebacker? He went to the Raiders, Nick Kwiatkowski. Remember that guy? Right?
Yes.
So, similar. Probably because they're probably similar because they're both white. You know what I mean? White linebackers.
Exactly.
But they got the kind of the same type of mentality of they're good against the run. They're just kind of average. But I say this, and I don't want it to be taken the wrong way. When you're average across the board, that is a good thing too, as opposed to being good at something and horrible at something else. Sometimes you just need meh.
That's good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Be average this year, defense. Just be average. You know what I mean? We cannot drive on just turnovers alone. You saw that in the stats, the amount of yards that we gave up. We were very fortunate in the Commanders game, that last-minute fumble by Jaden Daniels to win that game. I mean, and we go when we played Philadelphia, when they tried to run the push, Nashawn Wright stripped out the fumble there. I mean, and then the interceptions, Tyreek Stevenson had an unbelievable play on the sideline, stripping the ball out and getting that done against Dallas. I think that's what turned our season around, by the way, that play right there.
But it definitely started it.
Yeah, and you've got these like one-off plays, but you cannot survive consistently defense just worrying about turnovers. Turnovers are great, but you need to be able to get off third down too. I mean, that's a turnover. Getting off the
Yeah.
field after third down.
Yeah, I would rather us get off the field causing 3 and outs than letting a team drive down the field and get a turnover. There's one thing that probably annoyed me the most. It always seemed like whenever we scored a touchdown, the very next drive, we would let the team just walk down and tie us
In
or
four
score
or
a
five
touchdown.
plays. In four or
Oh,
five plays, it was a
it,
joke.
every dang time. So like you get excited about a touchdown and then it's just like 3 minutes later, well, they scored, so it's like, okay, that didn't really help us
Chris, how
too
many
much.
times have you seen this bend don't break defense where they start the ball in the 25, and then the immediate play, they're throwing 25 yarders to the middle of the field. Then they get another 20-yard pass. And then in the red zone, we start tightening up then, like we had actually a pretty good red zone defense, but where was that defense when you gave up, 60 yards going down the freaking field,
Well,
in three
and I
plays?
think that started to change, and I hope that it carries over. But the second half against the Packers in the wild card, we carried that into the Ram game.
We
We
did.
played the Rams pretty damn well
We did,
on
and I think Ben
defense.
Johnson was surprised by that because remember he went on forward on fourth down early in the game. It was like a second drive on our side
Mhm.
of the field on minus field, and Ben didn't trust his defense, and he didn't know
Right.
that they were going to play lights out like they did.
Yeah, and it was their best game, and the second half against the Packers was really good too because Jordan Love was just he was ripping us apart that first
Yeah,
half, right? He had 3 touchdowns. He got a fourth, but that was like a wide receiver screen's just a handoff, in my opinion. But still, it's still a great play for them. But Jordan Love got shut down the second half.
oh,
We
absolutely.
were rattling him. We were rattling their whole offense. Their play calling had to be adjusted because of our defensive adjustments, and they just couldn't do it, which
Well,
was a
Javon Brisker
shock.
had the game of his life,
Mhm.
and I think he knew that was going to be his last game. But I mean, he played lights out. Hopefully, he would be back with the Bears. But that obviously didn't happen. I can't believe he signed for $5 million with Pittsburgh.
Right?
I mean, that's insane to me. But it was an impressive game, man. It really was. I mean, to hold Devontae Adams and Puka Nakuda 80 total yards is incredible. I don't think a team did that all year against the Rams.
No, you couldn't ask anything better from our defense to do against that team. Yeah, they could not have done much better.
Yep.
Hats off to the Bears defense and hats off for Dennis Allen making adjustments. If there's something else that, if you know Chicago Bears history and lore, everybody, when we had Lovie Smith as a coach, guess what he never did besides not look at the Jumbotron all game long? He would never make
Make
adjustments.
it.
Now, I look at Steve Smith against us, the Panther playoff game, where he had 19 catches for 300 yards in the first half. And our big game plan was to not change a thing.
Yep.
Reverse psychology. I don't know. And then he just got 47 more catches for 200 more yards. It was
I know
crazy.
he's a Hall of Famer. Drove me nuts. No, drove me nuts in Lovie Smith's defense was you have the best middle linebacker besides Ray Lewis in football with Brian Urlacher. Never sent him. Never blitzed. He was always
Mhm.
dropping back in coverage, and he was being utilized as this cover guy. I want that guy on the line of scrimmage, knocking down offensive linemen and attacking the quarterback. I'm like, send Urlacher. Break
It's it,
some cover.
it's amazing what a player becomes solely because of the system that they are in.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier about the 85 Bears. One of the best books I've ever read, I don't even remember the dang title of it, but it was Jim McMahon's autobiography. And if what people forget about Jim McMahon is he went to BYU and was a
He did.
and he was a party animal, first off. But the
Yeah.
other thing too is he had like every passing record in college history at BYU. There were people out there that thought he was right there with someone like Dan Marino,
Dan Marino. They kept on
right?
comparing him. Yep.
And even Jim McMahon said, he was like, you know what? I was drafted by the Bears. I played with Walter Payton. Why are they going to have me throw the ball to Dennis McKinnon when I've got the greatest football player of all time? But if he went to Miami and played with Duper and Clayton, it could have been a totally different trajectory for Jim
No
McMahon.
doubt. That there's no doubt about that. 100%, man. I
So,
mean, he had Willie Galt, made some great plays, but you're right. It was a run first split running back offense.
yeah,
It's,
it
you
it
know,
was Peyton Suey and then Dennis Gentry.
Dennis.
There's some history for you,
There-
kiddos. Uh,
exactly.
but you're right about Urlacher. I agree with you. He could have been a guy that could have had however many more sacks, all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
But
But he
because
also was
Bubby was
awesome.
stubborn, he knew
Yeah,
that again it was the bend don't break Tampa 2 defense. He played it no matter what the score was, didn't matter. That's how he did it. And look, he was successful. But to be honest with you, that Tampa 2 is getting so exposed right now. This kind of offensive
sure.
firepower is out there right now. So but again, the Bears. I'm excited for this freaking season. I cannot wait. It couldn't come soon enough. And there's so much more news and everything else that's dropping. Chris and I will be here to help cover anything that happens, podcasts, check out your TikToks. I'm Motion Sports Network. Chris,
The Chris Smith.
the Chris Smith.
Yep. It
Awesome content.
used to be beard down, bear down. But I had to change it because I don't have a beard anymore.
Yeah.
But then-
So love his content, man. Comes out, I mean, I do daily stuff. But again, subscribe here on YouTube. And we're going to have a great, great season, man. Chris,
yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to chit chatting with you more during the off season and during the season as well. I think this is going to be a fun year. It's a very fun time to be a Chicago Bear fan. Everybody,
Buckle up. It's coming.
let's have some fun. Let's have some fun.
Y'all have a good night.
All right, bear down.
Bear down.